Hi guys, this is Erica from Erica Danile Photography, and in this video we are going to go over something very important to working in Photoshop, and that is masking and layer masking. So this is going to allow you to dive in and to do so much with your work, to select just certain portions of your work and to edit just those. It's really going to change things for you. So if you are unfamiliar with Photoshop, I highly suggest watching our first video, which is Introduction to Photoshop. This is just going to go over where things are located, but this is really the next video to watch, where we are going to just dive in right now and begin the really difficult things with Photoshop. This is going to change everything, I can assure you of that. So the first thing that we are going to do is that we are going to select some sort of layer adjustment. Now, if you have watched the introductory video, you know that you can find these down here. So I picked this particular image as an example because I think there are a couple of things that I could do to just kind of change the overall aesthetic of the video. Or of the photo. This is a very dramatic image. Whoops, that inverted it. That was a misclick. The delete layer button is right down here. I'm going to use that now. This is a very dramatic image with Rembrandt lighting. And I think that as a result, some features are really brought out, and I had some difficulty with some highlights and some shadows. So we're going to bring back some of the detail in the shadows. I'm gonna go on and do something about probably the fingernails down here and the lip coloring up here, which are going to get their very own video later on, but for now this will help with the layer masking. So for now I'm going to focus on this shadow. It's actually not super duper bad, but we're just going to lighten it up just a little bit, and probably more so in the hair and on the neck region than on the face. The face isn't bothering me very much as it helps bring out the eye. But with that being said, so we're going over masking. So whatever adjustment you need to make, you would come over here and pick one. For this, I'm going to just use levels. I apologize if it's like super distracting that people keep commenting on things. I have to turn off those desktop notifications. They're driving me crazy. So I'm going to go ahead and make my layer adjustment, just lightening things up, bringing back some of the detail in the hair. I'm going to hopefully not lose the contrast. So I'm going to brighten the highlights just a little bit. But as you can see, that has affected the entire image. And I don't think that the entire image needed brightened. I liked the dramatics of it all. So I'm going to mask it. Now, what I could do from here, this is the layer mask. This little box right here is your layer mask. This here is your properties, so you can see your adjustments and change them. So you want to click on the layer mask. And then since it's white, that means that it is the mask is being applied to everything. The adjustment is being applied to everything. Whatever you paint black with your black paintbrush onto the white mask will send it back to its original adjustments. See? I'm going to undo that. Well, I'll do it some more. It will send it back to the original adjustments. If you change it to white on a white layer mask, it will essentially erase it. For this image, because I didn't want to lighten the whole thing, and for the most part I want it to be in shadow, I just want just this little bit lightened, just a little bit. So what I'm going to do is double click this, and it is going to, oops, that was wrong. No. is going to open up this properties panel for it, and I am going to press invert. And that will change everything back to its original settings. You want to invert the mask. You can get to it this way too. If I invert it, this is what it looks like when the adjustments are applied to the whole thing. If I invert it, it gets rid of those adjustments. So now the mask is black. So when you paint on it with the white, it makes the adjustments to just the parts of the image that you want the adjustments applied to. And this obviously looks a little rough, so we're going to work on that. But this allows you to make those adjustments only to the parts of the image that you want to make the adjustments to. Maybe a little bit in the eye. So if you messed up and you want to get rid of some of it, you can come back in with that black brush and paint onto the black mask, and it will get rid of that. If you lower the opacity, you're basically painting gray on the black and white, and it will make it, less. So this is great for me right now because I'm trying to blend out that a little bit, especially in the forehead. So you can see the difference that it made. We'll zoom out there. And we just made the adjustments to that area. So if you don't want the mask to be as strong, you can come over here to the fill and you can adjust how much that layer is showing. So maybe you feel like you went too far and you want to bring back a little bit more shadow. Do that. Or you can double click your adjustments here and come back in and change your adjustments a little bit. You can make it darker, you can make it brighter. You can, of course, go back in and change your mask. You can mask off different areas and change them. So we're going to do this again, but we're going to do it for color this time. It works the exact same way no matter what adjustment you're making. You just have to play with it. The mask works the same, but we're just going to run through it again. So these darn fingernails mixed with the lips that are both just bright pink honestly drive me crazy. So since this is just a small portion of the image, I am going to take my selection tool and I am going to just select this area. I'm going to click hue and saturation. And now it's only going to apply it to that small area. Honestly, I'm just going to desaturate it a decent amount and darken it up. Because those pink nails are too much for me. A nice green would work if we could get a dark one. Maybe the blue. We'll see. So now the thing is we have to paint it off of the rest of the hand. You don't want that on the rest of the hand. So the white layer mask is right here. So you just have to paint it off of the hand. Gotta be careful because I just painted it off of that one fingernail. And that one over there. But that's just to show you that if you want to select just a small portion of the image, again, I use the selection tool. And I'm going to have to go back in and be a little bit more careful. I was not being very cautious when I was doing that at all. You really want to take your time with these and zoom in and make sure that you are painting everything because once it is printed, you're definitely going to notice if you missed a spot. So I'm going to zoom out. And now the nails are far less in your face. They kind of just blend into the image. And that was done using a layer mask. We can come up here to the lips and do the same thing. We'll use a different layer mask, of course. So for this one, I am going to target the reds specifically. I'm going to desaturate those. I think that something a little bit more neutral, even if it looks kind of sickly, for me would just work a lot better. So again, I am going to invert this mask so that way I can just paint it onto the lips themselves. I definitely don't want it to do that to the whole image. So again, because it's inverted, the mask is black. I'm going to come in. Oops. And it's okay if you mess up using a mouse right now instead of my graphic tablet, because you can always go back and you can just paint it that different color. Kind of okay with the sickly look here. So I need to go back and paint that in because I slipped and made a mess, and I just slipped and made a mess again. Awesome. I am a mess. So right now I am painting it white onto the black. I'm going to come in with the black and kind of blend out this spot right here because the corners of the mouth look a little less than perfect, less than what I would like for them to look. When you're doing this, you want it to flow naturally, and that's where a layer mask really helps. Another thing with a layer mask is that it never affects your original image. You still have that original image. You are just making changes that are subtle and that won't hurt it. So here I'm going to bring a little bit of life back to the lips, just because I think I went a little too far. So that's how to successfully use a layer mask, and I brought that back just by changing the fill again. Here is our original image, and we changed things, and this is what it looks like now. The layers, we brightened it up just a little bit, we changed those distracting nails, changed the distracting lips, and you can just really focus in on that eye. Alright guys, so good luck, and as usual, please do ask questions if you have any. Alright, have fun!